You're live. That's what it says on my little screen. Got some hydration. My room is a mess, but we are sitting in this corner. I have many ties, many ties. It is my job. Sports Center covering UFC 229 for TSN Sports Center in Canada. That has been my job. I love my job. So I haven't been able to hang here on the YouTube channel as much, and I sincerely apologize because I do love to hang out with you guys. Thoughts on Pettis this weekend is the first question. Pettis is mentally prepared. He when you chat with him, when you look at him, he's in great shape. We got a hello everybody from Coco. When you chat with him, you look at him, you don't just listen to the words he says, but you see how he says it. He's good. However, he had a tough time making the weight. Talked about it with my boys on Submission Radio. Probably be up on their YouTube channel somewhere today. That is, he would have strategized to come in at 155, and he would have had a plan to do it, and failed to do so. But came in 156. He's not overweight, but it meant something changed in there for him. So he didn't have a very good last 24 hours, I wouldn't suspect. But I don't think that's the end of the world. Pettis will show up on fight night, and that's going to be a killer fight. A green background, Barbius says, Robin is subconsciously predicting McGregor Mayweather theories. Green background because that's what it is in my room. I'm not predicting anything. I've had a lot of conversations, people asking about predictions. Somebody said Conor should be moving backwards against Khabib. Isn't pressuring Khabib the better option? A great question. When I move forward to pressure you, as I'm moving forward, it is easier for you to take me down as I move forward. Yes, if I can get Khabib moving backwards, that would be a great thing if I'm Conor McGregor. But if I cannot, he's going to be moving forward. We're here. Khabib is my wedding ring, blue. That's actually my wife's, the sound of my wife's voice. My wife is a singer. It's her singing under pressure, which, anyways, it's beautiful. I love my wife. So this is Khabib moving forward. As he moves forward, McGregor moves back and strikes. But yes, if you get somebody tired, you get somebody sore, you get somebody hurt, you get them, something's changed, it'd be great to move them back, but you can't necessarily. But I'm pretty stoked. This fight is very exciting. It really is. And it's very difficult to be able to anticipate. Hello from Dublin, Ireland. I was in Dublin maybe 6 or 8 weeks back, 10 weeks back. It was a wonderful place. Very difficult to predict what will happen. We all can see it. It's been analyzed to death from 1,000 different angles. Pete here says he'll be nervous. Of course, you get that nervous anticipation inside your belly when fights like these happen. And it's not hard to sort of see what's happening. If Khabib's on top of Conor, and if you're a Khabib fan, a lot of questions here. I'll try to get to some of them. If you're a Khabib fan, well, you see him on top of Conor, of course, that's good. If he's out in space, throwing punches and, in the place he's a little less comfortable, and you're a Conor fan, that's good. So, but a lot of nerves and anticipation for this one. Let's take a few questions. Mental warfare, who do you think got the mental edge at the press conference? And then the next question, is it possible they both got the edge? Both guys have been doing what they want. McGregor wants to put these ideas out there. He wants to feel the people and be lit by the audience. Khabib wants no part of this, to get this done, be a pro way and get this shit over with. And he's doing that. So they're both doing what they want. Not much of an edge anywhere. And at this level, I think we just got to fight. Conor should minimize his kicks and utilize knees more, if anything. You agree? Not necessarily. For me to knee you, if I can kick you, I can do it from way back here. To knee you, I've got to do it up here. Closer. Closer is not necessarily better. Kicking at distance, he's not afraid to kick wrestlers. Saying don't kick a wrestler, they might grab your leg, is bad thinking. It might work for you, but in long-term strategic thinking, the better answer is kick wrestlers and deal with their ability to catch your leg. Not don't kick them, they might catch your leg. That's improper view of the world. Now, in a particular fight where somebody's great at catching kicks, I got to fight him in 8 weeks and I'm not all that good at dealing with it, maybe then we will choose not to kick him. But in the long run, how I'm going to grow as a martial artist over years and decades, we don't say don't kick a wrestler. We say kick a wrestler and get really good at not having your kick caught. kick and extract, or kick in such a way, or find the time to kick that's the long way. Irish Patty says, have you tried proper 12 yet? You got a bottle put aside for tomorrow night? I did. A gentleman at the bar, I mentioned it, and a guy at the bar bought me one, and I sampled it, and it was actually very good. Very, very, very good. I did honestly prefer it to Jameson. Fuck the Jameson brothers. But yes, in the long-term thinking of your life, you of growth, is you solve the problems. Sorry, that would be my wife. I will text her and tell her that we are doing this. Sorry, baby, if you see this. With how Khabib leaves his left side, McGregor will be looking for, it went away, but looking for that head kick. Yeah, he definitely, the head kick is there. By the way, I heard your voice on TSN promo for the fights. Congrats. Are you there doing pre-fight show for them? Yes. Sports Center, every night from Sunday of last week till Sunday of this week, you will see me on, probably with Darren Nutrition. So for my friends in Canada, Sports Center, TSN Sports Center, every single day. Sorry, please excuse me. Real life, right? This is real life. Do you think Conor will eventually sell proper 12 to a major distributor? Yeah, probably. Do you think Khabib has a better chance working from Southpaw? Absolutely not. So it's a great question. It's a very good question, because you didn't say he does. You just asked, and my answer is no. What you never want to do is put yourself into your second best scenario. If wherever he's at with his game, he's been training in this particular way all of his life, as good as he is there, changing it, he'll be much worse in the long run, unless it's something you work on a ton, and there's no likelihood that he has been, not to a degree that it'd be better than his primary stance. Who will get the edge at the weigh-ins? At this point, I think we're past that. Even Conor, typically at this point, at the weigh-in point, is past the point of being focused on anything other than the fight. Hey, if you could, sell a few pay-per-views, or some pushing, maybe you say one last thing, but it's at this stage, it's about tomorrow night. Conor has incredible balance. This is from Heavy Metal Heretic. Love it. Conor has incredible balance. He has defended takedowns with only one hand on the floor. Will Khabib be different? Khabib is different. But he has, great balance and ability to get his feet under him and push up. But Khabib is different, and he'll keep going, and over and over and over and over again. You do need to shut him off. And if you don't, he'll keep coming. Khabib is going to have trouble in his regular stance. Southpaw would be suicide. So Luke just said the exact scenario that I said. Yeah, dude, you've been seeing more of you. It's Robin Black. People look at me all weird. Okay, well, I appreciate you. So let's take a couple more questions. Any crazy behind-the-scenes stories from this week yet? Nothing really. Nothing really going on outside of the ordinary. Do you think Al has better wrestling than Conor? No. Al Iaquinta is a very good martial artist. Conor, all the things that you haven't seen yet, grappling and wrestling and top and bottom games, he's the word with anybody who's seen him train and been there is he's different and very, very talented. If you hate him, you want to say he's not good, and he is the type of person who can make a lot of people hate him, but he's very good. People haven't mentioned the jab option being nullified with the stance matchup, so it's not nullified. So that's a great point. It is not at all nullified. Your jab, my hand, your hand, you jab inside the hand, you jab out and over it, you jab under it. The jab is actually a great weapon for a very experienced southpaw. The right hand, the jab, very excellent weapon for an experienced southpaw. And a great weapon against the southpaw if you're good against southpaws with your jab. It's there. It's just you throw it from different positions and you throw it in different ways. People haven't mentioned yet. So Antonio Lopez said UFC 230 main event canceled. Shevchenko, is that the main event? If so, I don't know if that's actually canceled or not, but what concepts are you working on at the moment, Robin? Been playing around with, actually, I really liked playing with the Conor McGregor workout stuff, open workout stuff. So I'm planning to go tonight to Quintet. It's a grappling thing, and I want to film some just with my camera or my iPad, and then do some breakdowns of that just from my perspective. Because I always use footage that's already shot, but when I shoot it myself, I can do it in a different way. How tall are you, Robin? You fought at which weight class? I am 5'6". I fought at 135 pounds, but I probably weigh closer to high 160s right now. Would you be surprised if Conor dominated Khabib on the ground? I would be surprised, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Dominated is a pretty big word. I think yes, but I wouldn't be, in the unlikely event that were to happen, it would have more to do with ground game and ability to show up on the night. I don't think he could do that. You eagerly await the post-fight Black Breakdown. I will do something post-fight here. I'm also getting together with my friends at RT Sport after too, and TSN of course. John Fitch said it's like watching a wolf maul a rabbit, is what he thought the fight was going to look like. Well, Fitch knows about grappling, for sure, and about mauling. You worried about Rory Mac's next fight? A little bit, to be honest with you, a little bit. He's a different man than he was back once upon a time, but he is his own man, and I'm certainly not in a position to tell him what to do, but if he asked my opinion, I would talk to him about dealing with these things head on, you know, the fears and the thoughts and any hesitation. It's different for him because he comes from such a strange warrior gene pool, but having the experiences that he's had change his relationship to fighting, and he should deal with those directly and straight on and not stay away from them. But I mean, my opinion, my perspective, he didn't ask for it. If he did, and he really cared, I'm not saying he would, because he's at a much different level than me in his martial arts journey, but if he did, that's what I would tell him. Who would the judges be biased if it goes to decision, since Conor is the star? They're not supposed to be, right? And I know some of these guys, some of them take their jobs very seriously. I don't know all of them. The way Khabib rules, rushes in recklessly, can you see him getting knocked out in under 13 seconds? 12 seconds would be quite a big shock, but one of the potential outcomes is Khabib getting slept in the first 7 minutes, for sure. Thoughts on Pettis versus Ferguson and how it ends? Pettis released footage has been looking great. Pettis was moving beautifully, but he had a tough last 24 hours, presumably, with the weight. Great fight. I did a piece with Kevin Lee. It might be up at tsn.ca/UFC. We did it yesterday. A physical breakdown, explaining some possibilities of this fight. And I asked him about that fight, and he said he thinks Pettis is going to get to Tony and land hard, painful bone-on-bone shots. But he said, you know, that may or may not happen. But he said even if it does happen, Tony's so incredibly tough that he thinks he can handle it. He's pretty pumped for that. What tools from the Floyd fight will Conor bring? I mean, he moves so much better from focusing on just those parts of the game. Grappling only match, would Dylan Dennis have the advantage against Khabib? Dylan Dennis would be a bit, if they didn't prepare for each other and they just said Khabib grapple Dylan Dennis right now, Dylan Dennis would be a submission threat to him for sure. If they said Khabib grapple Dylan Dennis in 2 months, I think Khabib would be able to maybe shut him down. But there's a million possibilities. Pettis and Ferguson, yes, it's going to be a good one. Do you think Khabib would break Conor's arm if he gets a Kimura? I think he would. I think he would, and I don't say those things lightly. I think he would look to create a lot of pain and hurt him physically. I think he would. And that is one of the things one of the beds you make for yourself when you create this much emotion. And so that's on you if that were to happen. I don't endorse it myself. The honor of martial arts is not we're trying to hurt each other, but when you add these other elements where people hate each other, truly do, and now they fight, it's different. You create anger in your opponent, and you want that, because Aldo was angry, and 13 seconds later he was asleep. And you use that, but if and when it doesn't work for you, you may get punished badly, and that's a scary thing. Abel had world-class wrestling and decent striking, did nothing against Khabib. Oh, yeah. No, we're not at the same. They're not nowhere near the same skill level. And that's no disrespect. Abel Trujillo is a brilliant martial artist, but this is the top of the top of the top of the top. We're not dealing in similarities here in this conversation. UFC 230 main event, is it an insult to the fans? At this stage, we can theorize and think about these things all we want, but myself personally, I've gotten so much more attached to the martial arts and so much less attached to these storylines and business and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't bother me, but for some, for sure, people will be bothered by it. Will Conor be capable of surprising Khabib on the ground? Yes, but Khabib's also a monster, so he may not. But is it possible? Yeah, of course. Do you think that Conor has an underrated ground game? Similar question. Yes. Underrated means we're talking about how people view him, and I think people don't see how good he is. It does in those areas. Doesn't mean he's better than Khabib, but yes, I think people underestimate that. Would Khabib retire if brutally finished by Conor? No, I don't think so. No, it's just he'll want to do everything in his life to get back to fighting him again. Poirier is close. You know what I mean? Poirier changed. It made him a better fighter. It made him a better martial artist. It made him a better thinker and man and human being. And look how close he is now. If he beats Nate, which is possible, he comes back and gets it again. That'd be Khabib. That's what he would do. Why is 65 even a topic of consideration? Because people like topics. I don't care about any of those things. Weight and, you know, I want fighters to fight at a healthy weight, but they won't just because you make more weight classes. I don't care about belts, really. I care that it's important to the fighters, but it doesn't do anything to me. I like the martial arts. So, will another major fight be announced for 230? No idea, but I doubt it. Team Polaris are going to dominate at Quintet. It's going to be fun. I'm super stoked. Any idea of unannounced fights on the Toronto card? No, nothing new. I don't have any new insight. We got lots of questions. This is fun. Super fun. Question is, Conor going to respect Khabib's ground game and fear it when Khabib puts the pressure on like Barbosa? You do not want to fear it, but you want to respect it. But you don't want to fear it. If you run away from something, you're not doing the right thing. You have to deal with it head on. And he understands it. Doesn't mean he can stop it. Lunch break is over. So proud of you, man. Later. And thanks, Justin. Will uppercuts and knees nullify Khabib's takedowns? Nope. But you can land it and try to shut him off, but it will not nullify. If I knee you in the face and you keep driving, I accomplish kneeing you in the face, but you can still accomplish a takedown. Silly question, but what is the atmosphere around the RT guys regarding Conor? What is the atmosphere? That's a good question. So RT is called Russia Today, and they're friends of mine. I've gotten to know Dennis, who runs the MMA, or the MMA aspect of the sports department and other stuff. He did soccer and stuff too. And so because it is based in Russia, I think is why you're asking. And actually, Dennis and the people that I know from RT, they just like to fight. I don't think they are too attached, but I know they know their audience. The audience in Russia is going to be, a lot of them are going to be very anti-Conor. But I think they like the fight, they like the action around it. But that's a cool question. In Russia, man, and Russia's a big place with many subcultures and many little, like America or Canada or Australia. All Russians are not the same. Many of our viewers are from America. We got viewers from all over the place, but you talk to an American in 3 different states about anything, and they disagree with each other. They can very easily, and Russia's the same. So you can't paint all of an enormous country all the same, but there are pockets of Russia that would like to see this man die. And what was it? Conor said something about I'd like to see the contents of his head. It's like scary shit. Do you think Conor strikes from framing techniques he used against wrestlers would be key? So frame is like as somebody comes in, and we call it a frame. And there are very physiologically strong ways to use your body. And if you lean on your arm this way, you can see that it's just, we call it a frame. And we put this on the shoulder and put this across you, and I make space. This is a very strong position. It's very strong. So you can make space with that, and then from there. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Keep the questions there. Make space and strike from there. Knees, possible, although people do take you down off knees, but again, you don't not do them because they might get taken down. You just get good at not being taken down off the knee. It's how you improve. Elbows from there, spacing out. It's important. It's one of the layers of stopping him from putting you on the ground. At any of the layers, you can stop him and hurt him, it's all the better, right? Do you think, is Dylan Dennis a better grappler than Khabib? They're so different. Is a Mars bar better than a Kit Kat? I mean, they're both fucking chocolate bars, like delicious chocolate bars. They're very different. Khabib is very, very physically, positionally dominant, and he could destroy Conor, possible, and many other people, and we've seen it happen before. He's a very specific kind of killer, and Dylan Dennis is much more fluid and different, and mobile. So, very different. Do you think Khabib's chin can take Connor's power? If you watch my YouTube channel a lot, there's so many things other than how hard I hit and how well you can take it. There's so many other things. How are you moving at the time? Are you moving forward? Are you moving backwards? Are you relaxed? Are you tense? Have I already hurt you? So there's a lot. One punch, many others haven't. Many others haven't. But multiple Eddie's and Nate were dropped multiple times, but stayed conscious. So, but a few of them, most people can't take that. I think Al would give Connor a run for his money. Al's great. Am I dropping an analysis? I mean, our definitions of analysis, me and a lot of people, are very different. I'll talk for 30 minutes, and at the end of it, I'll get a text from Duke Rufus or a professional fighter or Kevin Lee, and they'll say, man, the level you're talking about, it's so refreshing, thank you. I'm not tooting my own horn, that this happens on a very regular basis. And other people will send me a message to go, bro, you didn't say anything in 30 minutes. Why don't you analyze shit? Like, we all see it different, right? We all see it different, and that's okay. You've not stopped spiking your hair since 1992. You have not, brah. Well, you don't have to. You can do whatever you like. You spoke to a psychic. She told you Conor finishes Khabib in the first. Well, she's either going to be right or she's going to be wrong. It's a mistake for Khabib to try to prove something and go all 5 rounds with Conor. You don't try to go 5 rounds. Doesn't matter what you say. He's not trying to do that. He's trying to beat him up. And if he gets the chance to finish him, he will absolutely do that. Nobody would make that mistake no matter what they say. What is the Indian time? Does anybody know? So in India, you're about 12 hours later, I believe 8 to 10 hours later than Toronto, so you'll be about 13 hours later than here, so it'll be Sunday morning. Connor sweep reverse Khabib, trains with Dylan Dennis. So it's possible. It is possible. It's better to reverse than just get out, right? That'll be what they're looking to do. Kavanaugh's really smart. He's a very, and you know, when I watch their team train, they think differently, and different is good. Light green drapes and a dark green wall. I'm a savage. This is the hotel they gave me. But thank you. How about Khabib getting tired? Maybe he doesn't work and is getting hit repeatedly and is surprised. It's certainly possible. The idea that only Conor would get tired, I mean, Khabib fatigues too. He's a human. Joe Rogan said that Khabib got rocked by Michael Johnson, but you watch the clip over and over. The punch doesn't land. Khabib him to block the shot. He hit him a few times with his left hand. But did he rock him? I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. And even former fighters, and so I have a talk up with Dan Hardy, and Dan is one of my very favorites people, and fun to talk about fighting with, and brilliant fighter, and I love him. And I remember once having a conversation with him, and he was talking about, so I'm meandering here, but please stay with me. Somebody's talking about being rocked. And he and I were talking about Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler. No, Robbie Lawler versus Carlos Condit. In the one round, whatever the round was in debate, he said Robbie Lawler landed the heavier shots. And a little while later, I said to him, if we go back and we watch some of your fights, and we say, hey, how was that one? And it's the one where your head flies back and sweat flies off your head. You'd be like, actually, that didn't hurt me. Yeah, it might, but sometimes it didn't. Sometimes the big shots that you see are not the ones that do it. And then another one, I'd say, well, do you remember? It's, oh my God, that little one right there. This little shot. It's like, it stung, and there was lightning flashes through my head, and I sound changed, and I was wobbled. It is not what. The response of the other guy when you get hit is not always definitive of what's happening. Sometimes the very worst shots of the entire fight that the man personally experiences don't look like shit to you. So when we look at someone who was or was not rocked, we do not have enough information. So we just don't. Was Khabib rocked by Michael Johnson? I mean, just seeing how he responded will not tell us yes or no. Neither one. It really won't. Sometimes it will when the leg wobbles and you're like, that guy's rocked. And you're probably right, unless he's faking, which has also happened. But there are times where it just doesn't look like shit. A little one that just bounces off something and hits the temple, sometimes those are the worst of all. Can the rules of how wraps are wrapped be banned? Extra layers of tape. There are differences in how you can tape and wrap according to commission. But it's the good commissions, Vegas, LA, It's smart. It's for the protection of the bones of your hand, and that's about it. Can the rules? Is this the biggest fight in UFC history, martial arts history? Maybe. I mean, our definition of big is going to be the important part here. What would be our metric? If the metric is how many pay-per-views it sells, well, we'll find out. Or to a certain degree, the UFC will say how much it is, but then Dave, that guy, I forget his name, but he is the expert. He knows. He's MMA fighting. My apologies. Anyone who follows me knows that sometimes my name things. Meltzer, Dave Meltzer. He'll tell you. If it is how it affects martial arts history, the very first time that, wrestler fought a grappler, that was pretty heavy, man. That was pretty heavy. Mark Coleman and Murray Smith, UFC first 10 or 12, I don't remember which one, but 20 years ago. Was that more meaningful than this one? I don't know. But big sales, people talking about it, it's going to be huge. It is huge. Habib was getting pieced up badly by Johnson, somebody said. If Conor beats Habib, does Kavanaugh give him his black belt in the cage? Maybe. Yeah, maybe he does. Conor have an advantage in skill against Anderson. If Anderson was 30 right now, maybe not. But Anderson's 41 or 42. So he's smarter than he's ever been, but he's not physically as good. And that's not a judgment on Anderson. The human body starts to change as we age. We all know that. So it would be harder now. 30-year-old Anderson, I think, would do pretty great. Will Khabib never losing a round, his father not being there, do you think is mentally there? Yeah, he's there. This is a lifetime of this. Robin, huge fan. How would you rate Conor's reaction speed to stop the takedowns? It's been fast, right? There was a takedown I was talking about today. Oh yeah, Cowboy Cerrone. The first takedown he gets against Patrick Cote. And I was talking about that because my guy, Platinum Mike Perry, if you go on Instagram or Twitter, I did a couple of breakdown bits with Platinum Mike Perry. We were talking about, he's in a position to smash up a Cowboy who's also a little bit older than he was. But if Cowboy shoots the takedown he did on Pat Cote, there is no defense. You are moving at a time where it comes out as such a surprise you cannot react. Or many can't react. How the most sharpest, most alert, and that's been, doesn't mean it will be, but it has been one of Conor's great strengths, is his presence, his focus. To be present in the moment, truly focused only onto the task at hand. That's been his biggest thing. So it gives you a better reaction time if you are fully dialed in like that. If he were to lose the first round or two. You're talking about stacking in the wraps. Should Conor go for a takedown as a surprise element? So, Holly Holm took down Ronda Rousey, and these, of course, is not nearly the same thing, but there are strategic comparisons. But yeah, you could, but I wouldn't. Why the fuck would you want to be getting yourself all in there? But the fact that we wouldn't, people who really are risk takers and calculated risks and put themselves in position to do it, yeah, maybe, who knows, crazy. Khabib has been talking about retirement for quite some time. Well, somebody said, how do you think differently? I don't know if you're being facetious or we're talking about, but to think differently is probably an improper English turn of phrase, but you want to not be stuck in thought behaviors. And I use this as an example, not because I want to obsess about it, but if I say to you, who you got? And you say, I got this guy. And then I say, well, I got the other guy. He's going to kill your guy. And you say, no, but look what he did against Michael Johnson. I say, yeah, but look at Mendez. If we do that, we are falling into a thought behavior that we see everywhere. On Twitter, over and over, I see people doing this. I have no idea why. They have no idea why. They're just doing it. Anything different. Any chance you ever get to examine something in a different way, you should take it. And the more you do it, the more you will do it. The more you will do it. And the better you'll get at doing it. Any possibility. We could talk about this Gatorade. Hey, yes, purple, it's good. But how was it made? What's in it? What's the history of it? Like, any chance you get to look at something in a different way will be more fulfilling for your life, and it'll make you grow and learn things. Does Habib talking about retiring if he was 20, if he wins, worry you? No, that guy can do whatever he wants. Some people many people, I've said this before, grab 100 fighters on fight day and be close enough to them for them to tell you the truth, their truth. And 20 or 30 of them will say, you know what, I've decided this is my last fight. For real. And of those 20 or 30, one or two actually will retire. But at different times in your life, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. But you do. It's who you are. And that's not a troubling thing. That's a very normal thing. It's a very human thing. For me, it's a very tough matchup for Sergio. Yes, he is a tough matchup. Sergio is like, he's good, man. Good matchup for him. Tough one, though. And he wants tough fights. If you fail, you'll get better. If you win, you won. Question still reminds Robin, how good is Conor McGregor? He's good. He's good, man. Study a lot of these guys. You watch that guy move. You watch the way that the mechanical efficiency, the way he throws those punches, how light he is on his feet, how much flow that guy's got, and the mind, how focused he is. It's real. He's really good. Doesn't mean he'll win. Khabib's really good too. Am I a fighter or just a fan? I don't know if you're talking to me. I fought 9 times as a professional athlete. Now I'm retired because I'm old, and I learned a lot, but I wasn't the greatest fighter. But I loved it, and I learned a lot. If Eddie Alvarez couldn't do it, then neither will Khabib. Could be true. Might not be true. Who do I got? No idea. Somebody mentioned my old band, Ryan McGuigan, Ballroom Zombies. I was in the 90s in Winnipeg. Conor's ground game is better than Khabib's striking. Yeah, those things may or may not be relevant, but that could be true. I suspect that's true. There is a novice element to Khabib's striking, and in some ways that is because of how good of a specialized athlete he is. The things that make him a great wrestler, in some ways, make him less mobile on the feet. But he's still a professional athlete who's going to throw a really hard punch. And if it lands in just the right spot, people will go to sleep. You will. You just will. It doesn't mean it'll happen this time. It may never happen. But it absolutely, positively can happen. You like Jesse Ventura's show on RT? Oh, I didn't know he had one. Let's go. Interesting to see Conor striking, yes, after all that boxing. What time are the ceremonial weigh-ins London time? I don't know. London is 9 hours later than here, and I think here they are at 4 or even 5 p.m. So it'll be late for you. Conor's been training with 205-pound wrestlers, true. Khabib isn't going to be able to keep him down. Size isn't all there is to keeping someone down, though. Khabib's one of the reasons he's so good is because he dominates you during your process of taking the first couple of steps towards getting up. Going to all fours is one of the first steps to get back to your feet. And that's where he kills you. I think Khabib will be the most vulnerable if Conor is backing up Khabib on his feet. Yes, but if I move towards you, you move towards me and get the body lock. So I may not back you up, not at first. Khabib cannot fight going backwards. A lot of guys at AKA cannot. Cannot is a tough thing. Could he be better at it? Yeah, of course we can always all be better. Alvarez is a similar level fighter to Khabib, yes. In many ways. He's also he's a genius in his own right, so is Khabib. But Eddie was not able to perform on that night, and that is due to Conor. And so Eddie on his best night, the real Eddie Alvarez, confident and believing in his actions, would fight totally different and so Khabib in that state will too, if he can be. Russia has 11 time zones. Is that true? Because if it is, you think about how different the people are. But 11's a lot. We only got maybe 5 in Canada, 4 for sure. How do you think he's going to win? I don't know. Alpha Robin, love listening to your podcast. Who do you think will step back first? I think Conor will slide back early. When he keeps saying, I'm going to start fast and come right at him and be aggressive, he said it so many times I'm starting to think it's a purposeful plant, and he's planning the opposite. It's just an opinion, but that is what I'm thinking. Hi, Robin. How would you rate Conor's reaction speed to... Yeah, we were discussing that. He is very, very quick, and it's about focus and stuff. MMA Addict 12 Midnight. It looks like everyone talking like they watched the BJJ Scout video I shared. I haven't seen it yet, but BJJ Scout... I was going to say he. Could be a she, but he or she, they. Very good work. Very, very good work. I haven't seen it this time, but... if Conor and Khabib both fight out of their known boxes, do you think they'll end up fighting in a triangle? I don't know. Robin, I truly think that Conor's achievements and skills are still underestimated. Do you agree? Absolutely. It is what it is to be a superstar or famous or a celebrity is to be undermined, to have many that hate you. His accomplishments are real. You can't take that from him. You actually can if you like. If you hate him, just do what suits you. Do what makes you happy. But he's accomplished very special things. Will he do that again tomorrow night or Saturday night, depending when you're watching this? The jury is out, but we don't know. But he has done many special things already. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And have you ever fought? Have I ever fought? I foighted 9 times as a professional athlete. You're a weird person if you spend time where people you don't think they know what they're talking about. You're wasting your time. What are the chances Pettis targets Tony's knee? Very good chance. He said he'll definitely test it if and when he gets the chance. And he said, and if it hurts him, he'll do it more because that's what fighting is. Coco said Kit Kat is better than a Mars bar. I think I like it better. This fight might be the ultimate physical expression of rock, paper, scissors. In some ways, yeah. You want to do this, and this thing that I will do will supersede yours, but if you then do that other thing, it'll supersede mine. Scissors, rock, paper. Did I see Teddy Atlas on Joe Rogan discussing Mike Tyson? Any comparisons between Tyson and Conor? Actually, there's comparisons between Khabib and Tyson currently. And before anyone gets mad at me or takes this out of context, it's not for any of Khabib's fault. It's in fact because he's so good. And I only saw clips of this, I didn't see the whole thing, but one of the things Teddy Atlas said was that Mike Tyson actually was not tested very often. When he was, Teddy didn't think he rose to it. Khabib has not been tested very often. Here's the difference. Do I think he can rise to it? 100% I do. 100%. I think Khabib under pressure may be even better than he is when he's winning. And I think that's why I'm such a fan of his. But he has rarely ever been tested. Conor has been tested. He hasn't always passed. You know, they want to point the Diaz thing at him a lot. Well, he failed that night. He did. But he's passed many other times. He's underneath Mendez, getting punched up, gets back to his feet. That's passing that. That's passing that test. You know, in the second fight with Diaz, he found himself in the same position during that same round where he got finished last time. He did pass that test. So he has passed it many times, but he's also failed some. Habib's never really had those crazy moments where it's close. That's not his fault. In fact, he should be celebrated for that. It's because he's so good. Nate Diaz scares Conor more. Well, he wants to fight Nate Diaz, so I think he disagrees with you. What if the unexpected happens, such as Conor submits Khabib or Khabib knocks out Conor? Well, then the internet will go crazy, but a lot of us won't be surprised. Anybody who really knows fighting, anybody who's really spent their lifetime in it, would not be surprised if Khabib knocked out Conor McGregor. I would not be surprised at all. I mean, would it be crazy? Yeah. But when you looked at it after we had a conversation, people like you shocked. It's like, this is fucking fighting. This is fighting. Like, have you ignored all of the bizarre things that you've ever seen? A guy literally, like, parachuted into a ring one time. Like, that really actually happened. And we still look at it and we think we can predict how it's going to go. It's crazy. If Conor submitted Khabib, I would not be shocked. No, I would not. But the internet will fucking go crazy and everybody will be mean to each other. That's the part I hate. Why we gotta be so mean to each other? Why? These guys are just like, let's say you love Khabib, and I know Conor's been a dick to him, but the Irish haven't. Well, they booed him a little, so maybe. But if you say you love Khabib and they say Conor's gonna smoke him, and then the next day you're gonna spend 2 days on Twitter being mean to those people back and forth, why are we gonna do that? This is wonderful. Let's not do that. Just got into it. What did they think the way Khabib stood on the scale? I thought Khabib went in there like a pro, got it done, and got it and moved on. And I think that's the best thing for him, and I respect him. Conor will knock him out in round 2. Khabib's chin is up in the air. Conor will do him. Possible, certainly possible. But if his chin's up in the air, and I'm his coach, I'm certainly fucking working on that constantly. And so of course it's not gonna be up in the air in the first round. Hey Robin, what odds do you think you get on Conor winning by heel hook? Whilst the proper 12 logo on the canvas? You get some pretty good odds on that. And it's not impossible. You know, they'll be working on leg attacks against Khabib for sure. So Khabib and DC are teammates. How comparable is this fight to DC versus Rumble? Anthony didn't show up very well in those fights. I think Conor will. You don't think Conor can one punch KO him? He's done it before. If 10 puppies get murked and you guess wrong, who wins this fight? Gets murdered if you guess wrong. I don't want puppies to get murdered. I don't want any puppies to get murdered. And I have to guess? I don't know. I'll guess tomorrow. Where can buy Proper 12? I think it's everywhere. Thank you, Matt. Conor will do him. I like that term. It's not the way some people use it in other ways. Normally you dress down. Is there a reason why you wear suits? For my job. TSN. It's a television, mainstream sports television, biggest sports television channel probably in Canadian history. And for those jobs, you wear suits. And it's cool. I enjoy them. Khabib is an opponent who hasn't taken much damage over his career. Could be a big factor in Khabib able to take shots. The shut-off shot is the shut-off shot, however. Who should you put your cash on? Okay, that's a different question than who do you think will win. First off, don't bet too much. Second off, Khabib's a favorite, which will come as a shock to some people, but he's never been beaten, so it shouldn't come as that big a shock. I'm not paying more to bet on Khabib than I'm going to get back. I want to bet $10 and win $10, but in this case I have to bet $15 or $16 to win $10, and I don't want to do that. Do you have any MMA tips to beat up your wife? Absolutely not. Do not beat up your wife. That's insanity. Please don't hurt people, especially don't hurt children or women or people smaller than you. Come on. Are you interested in the quintet tournament tonight? I'm going. Uriah Faber. Oh yeah, Josh Barnett. Is Josh Barnett competing? Oh man, if he is, I'm super stoked. I'm gonna film some of it on my phone and do a couple 1-minute breakdowns. I think. Who do you think has better forward pressure? I think Khabib just straight up like ability, design, like push, like to grind and close distance. I think Khabib's pretty badass. But if you move backwards against him and punch him, it hurts him more. So. Can you shed some light on UFC's new non-disclosure agreement with USADA? I don't know a lot about those things. It's not as interesting to me. Khabib fanboys Johnson rocked Khabib. You guys can argue about that if you like. I'm not going to argue about it. Johnson was sloppy against Khabib. Conor is sharp. So we're a lot of comments from that one. Got a lot of comments here. I probably shouldn't stay too much longer, but we got a few hundred people hanging, which is very cool. I appreciate you guys hanging out. It's really fun. I've been just knee deep in it all week, and so you get more and more excited. You see more and more different variables, and you see all these. You're immersed in the Irish crowd cheering and booing, and you get in close and you see how people are reacting, and it's very thrilling. It really is. Do you think being a southpaw will favor Conor striking or Khabib with easy access to the single leg? Khabib, I'm going to offer you my leg. If you take it, I'm going to have a plan to do something to you. And that is one of the challenging things about Conor. If a guy can literally put his hands behind his back and stick his chin out, why do you think he does that? He wants you to throw a punch. Because when you throw a punch, he'll make you miss and he'll smash you. The second thing that happens that sucks from that is, if you're Eddie Alvarez or anybody else, the smart part of your brain goes, that guy's daring me to throw a punch. It's because he's trying to trap me, so I'm not sure I'll throw it. Now you're doing nothing. That same game is at play with a single leg when you've been training your entire life to beat up wrestlers. I'm offering you that leg. You have two choices. Take it, and I have a plan for that I prepared. Now, the better choice is you take it, because you can beat my plan. I'm trained to do something to you now that I've prepared, and you're trained to beat it. That's a fair fight. If you hesitate, now I've got my way without you doing anything. So it's better to attack it and to try and to go for it. But it's hard. It's your own brain. It's the smart part of your brain saying, this guy's daring me to take it. It's because he's trying to trap me. I shouldn't do it. That's at play at all times against somebody who knows their game. Pettis, Tony, this is not a Conor thing. This is a great fighter thing. And he's a great fighter. It's an any great fighter thing. Of course, if any of us can sit around and in between our day jobs say, hey, single leg is easier because that, what the fuck do you think Conor's people think? When everybody was sitting around going, oh, we know how to beat the Diaz brothers, you use a lot of leg kicks. What do you think the Diaz brothers did? They didn't start to go, we have to change our everything so don't get leg kicked, they say, I'll fuck you up if you leg kick me, and they'll start developing ways to make that bad for you. So that's always in play. That's why our conversations cannot really take place in honesty and in reality in the ways we have them currently. Because we're talking bullshit most of the time. We're saying things like, if the camera comes to you on a analyst desk and you only have 45 seconds, and they say, well, what a single leg, against Habib? Well, Conor's stance is... We've trained ourselves to just talk on that surface. And whether it's Mike Bisping, who I admire greatly and love him greatly, or Kenny, who's very, very good at his job, or any of these guys, they're not able to tell you the truth because of the context that's been created of how they can talk to you about it. The single leg is not more available in this stance. In fact, it may be a trap because of this brilliant martial artist and his team have been developing him in this way. And if we can sit there and go, oh, look, there's a single. What the fuck do you think they're doing? That's a part of it. It's an exciting and thrilling reality of fighting. Hey, would you close the distance if you were Habib? BJJ Scout suggested something about having a southpaw stance to throw off Conor striking. You just heard me say that I respect and admire BJJ Scout greatly. But I could, and that is 100% true and will be true after I say this sentence, but I could not disagree more strongly. And you may have not put the correct truth in there, but absolutely under no circumstances should that man be in his second best fighting stance against Conor McGregor, who Poirier is a southpaw, no problem, knocked him out, brilliant southpaw. So don't be a second best southpaw. Does it allow you to shoot your striking differently? Yes, but it'll still be your second best. Or your grappling entries differently? Yes, but it'll still be your second best because you don't do it all the time. Johnson landed, again, respect. And I love to have these discussions. When Dan Hardy and I talk, we don't just agree the whole time. The fun is, or Dom, or any of these guys who I admire, and I think they're brilliant. I'm, in many cases, and like 99 out of 100 things, I might agree, but disagreeing at times will allow us to have a better conversation. Johnson landed good shots on him, yes, but not the one Rogan called. Maybe. We discussed this a little earlier, if you just joined us. Some of the shots that look like nothing are the worst shots of all. Some of the ones that look crazy with sweat flying everywhere don't hurt at all, by comparison. What was the hardest fight of your career? They were all hard. This was not a natural thing for me to do. I'm a thinker, I'm a lover, so I have a development deal for an animal breakdown show, and that's the guy texted me. We're going to shoot the pilot, I think, next week. How would you close the distance if you were Habib? Oh yeah, that's that same one. But I know you were quoting somebody else's work, so you may not have quoted exactly right, but I disagree with that. Habib was wobbly in his feet after one of Johnson's shots. He did appear to be, but sometimes you'll fake that. Or sometimes it's momentary and it doesn't really bother you too much. Who do you think has better forward pressure? We talked about that. If I'm McGregor and his team, it's not all about forward pressure. It would be cool to back him up, but it's the closer I get to him, the easier it is for him to body lock me. So I'll draw him for a little while. A little push, a little pull would be the ideal. Draw him, strike him, push when it's appropriate. Habib, time is up, someone said. Official weigh-ins already happened. The official weigh-ins are done. Yes, everybody midway. Gunnar Nelson doesn't use wraps. And no, they're not a requirement. I've seen guys in the back, their name was called, pulled down the gloves, walked out, couple punches, one, came back. They're not a requirement. Connor said he's going to make Habib's nose bleed. Somebody asked a bad question after that. Love this week on YouTube. Fight Week is a fun time for, if you're a fight fan, right? Which we are. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, television. There's awesome stuff everywhere. And because we're all sharing stuff, the fighters themselves have really cool things that you can see. And, you try to meet other people. And I do 1-minute breakdowns on my Instagram sometimes. Well, I was going to do one with Dan Hardy today, but I've seen him a lot. Well, hopefully we'll get it later. We'll do a 1-minute breakdown on my Instagram. @RobinBlackMMA. What color are the nails this week? My nails are not colored this week. Habib fought RDA and Barbosa. Everyone else was nobody's. So, nobody's a bit rude. It's kind of a rude way to put it, but those are the best guys he's fought. McGregor knocks out Habib with a straight left in the second round. That's possible for sure. After Conor has retired, we might not see an MMA fight this big again. Might not, but I'm sure they've said that before, Regards to Conor's pre-fight war. By the way, thanks for all you guys that are watching. It's really cool. It's really cool to hang and chat and I've got some really great questions here. Some that are making me think, really making me think, which I appreciate greatly. In regards to Conor's pre-fight warfare, could this be a possible way to get through pre-fight jitters? Yes. Why is it when he does almost anything, many will marvel at it, regardless of what it is? Because he's compelling. Influence, that's the word. He has the ability to influence us. And if you hate him, he's also succeeding. We are affected by this human being. There's lots like that. When Beyonce does shit, millions of people are affected by her. There's a lot of people like that. Not, they're rare enough that that's part of why they're so compelling. It's very common. Sorry, it's not very common. That was entirely wrongly worded. It is not new, and it's not an isolated incident. You see it. We could list 100 people. Why is the Kardashian? Why do we marvel at the Kardashian family when they put on different makeup? I mean, that's what we do. Do you think Khabib will be hesitant in the beginning of the fight or shoot right away? I think he's gonna fucking close distance right away. With punches, though. With punches. You're from the future. Conor KO him in 10 seconds. Cal from the future. Okay, well, thanks for coming back here. And we don't need to watch the fight. Actually, no, it would still be interesting. What do you think about Khabib and Conor acting like generals in wartime or leaders of a nation? Does it seem a little too over the top? They're just athletes fighting for a belt and money. Doesn't matter what I think. These are two human beings doing what feels right to them. Do I like it? Sometimes. Sometimes I don't. I don't like it when it really upsets people. I don't know that we're doing something really positive sometimes when we keep creating arguments. I know that cheering for your sports team or your fighter is a part of life and it's part of the world that we live in, but I really don't like it when we keep making, and I work in television, I love television, but television is one of these ways, news in particular. We bring in two people and they yell at each other, and then we all yell at each other in the world or over Twitter based on that. We bring two people in, one loves Conor, one loves Khabib, and then they say, or them and their teams say stuff and we all get mad. I don't like that. But it's their life. It's their lives. We're watching them. Conor has faced the tougher fights. Will this be an advantage or disadvantage? We don't talk. This hasn't come up a lot. Now he hasn't fought in a couple of years, but he has taken a lot of shots. He really has. When you go back and look, he got hit a lot in the fights that he stomped people, and we don't always notice that. Khabib's been hit much less, but he's also fought much less with much less stress, and in much less. Big and enormous and stressful situations like this. So there's pluses and minuses in both. Thoughts of Conor winning by submission off his back? Possible. Fairly less likely than many of the other outcomes, but they will be preparing to fight to guard and fight from guard. That is what they will be preparing to do. At least that'll be one of the options. And fighting from guard, the options are to throw up submissions. If you get it, you submit him. If you don't, you get space to potentially get up or sweep. So you'll see that, I think, in the fight. Ring rust real. Will it affect Conor? Dominic Cruz said it was not. Other people have said it is. I think it matters if you believe it. And I don't think Conor will believe it. Bonjour, France. Valentine. Hey Robin, big fan. With all due respect, I think you're incorrect in saying Conor needs to move back in this fight. You believe he must pressure Khabib. This has come up a few times, but if I pressure you, I'm moving towards you. And if I move towards you, it becomes easier for you to get a body lock. And Khabib loves the body lock. The truth is, we are both right. He needs to move forward and backwards. He needs to push and pull. And that is what he did with Diaz the second time. And that is the correct answer. When I talk about him moving back, I don't mean the entire fight, but I mean that is an element that has to be there. But will he and should he push forward at times? Absolutely. And if he could have the fight that he wanted to have, he would do both. Now, Khabib has something to say about both of those things, and it's not you don't get your way automatically. How likely is this fight resemble Holm versus Rousey? Possible. There are similar dynamics in it. You and Tony Ferguson competing for Bad Hair Day. Tony is a little more of a seeding than I am, but I'll be catching up soon. Just how good is Conor McGregor? He's fucking good. He is. And am I a Scientologist? I am not a Scientologist. That seems like a crazy cult. Somebody deleted their message. I don't know what it says. Retracted. Any new book recommendations? Presence. Did I recommend that one already? Presence. I think her name's Amy Cuddy, but that could be that could be Grit. Grit is another good book. Presence, Grit, both great books. Hello from South Russia. We love you. I love my Russian friends too. How does Kevin Lee fit into all this? Saw Kevin yesterday. So first, Russia. Got some big Russian friends, and I met a lot of fans in Russia who liked my work, which was very nice. And I will be doing some work, guesting on stuff for RT Sports on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and RT. So we'll be doing some Russia. Kevin Lee doesn't deserve to be in the conversation. I lost some questions. Kevin Lee does. Kevin Lee's a monster. He's also my friend, so easy. Question remains. So I'm sorry, guys. I lost some of your questions here. It flew away. But we're gonna do a few more. Do you think Conor's experience in touch butt will come into play when Khabib feels the size of his girth? When I was up to the touch butt part, I was going to reference the importance of movement and how people made fun of it, but look how good Conor moves now. He was training specially to move better. I've lost a bunch of these questions. I'm so sorry. Say hello to Kasmodar, Russia. Hello. How does Khabib deal with Conor's forward pressure? Not very well, somebody said. Sorry, I'm losing questions here. You slide back and strike him, or you slide out on an angle and strike him, or could the visuals of the whiskey ban on the floor put off Khabib? Well, I wouldn't be thrilled about it as a religious man who doesn't believe alcohol is something we should drink. I wouldn't be thrilled, but it's there, so you have to deal with it. Do you think being a southpaw will favor Conor? Yes. Get it, Conor. Robin, what's your prediction for the fight? You're new. You don't know that I don't believe in predicting. But I'm a fan, so sometimes I'll be pretty excited, but I want to see it all, and I can see it all if I keep an open mind. Yeah, I'll see it all better. Where is he getting his questions? It's not from this chat feed. Yeah, it is. There's a little feed down here that I'm getting my questions. Don't forget, Conor knocked out Aldo while backing up. This is true, because when you're moving forward, it's a collision. If your car is parked and a car smashes into you, that's going to hurt. But if I'm driving forward and then it smashes into me, it's going to hurt more, right? He's reading from here, but he's behind on the questions. Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of questions, which is really cool and very appreciated, but I don't think we'll be able to get to all of them, and some of them are disappearing now. How do you see Gokhan Saki's transition to MMA? So his first fight, awesome, and then the second fight, he got knocked out. That's fighting. Hi from Algeria. Hi, Algeria. What's up? Conor needs to apply pressure because Khabib is not proficient on the back pedal. Yes, but if I don't backpedal and instead move forward, then I have a body lock. So you will use pressure sometimes, just at particular times. You'll back up a lot and move forward a bit. That's what, and you move out on circular angles. Move out, and you want to be moving all over. But some you will move forward. Some, of course. Pretty sure he's reading most of them from an email. No, they're from right here. How do you disrupt, in the Mayweather-McGregor analysis you mentioned it, but how does one attempt to disrupt boxing or taxis? Very good question. This is how you disrupt things. You don't just play along with them in the way that they are. You try to find other alleys and avenues in to accomplish your goals. Cannot always be done, but that is worth pursuing and exploring, always. Is to rather than, and one of the best examples of this ever is Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. In the fight, not the fight, but the creation of the fight itself. If I wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather, the best route up until that day would be to start boxing at 12, get to a 30 or 40 and 0 undefeated record and become a very big famous boxer, and then fight him. But after that day, that was no longer the only way to do it. There was a new way. But yes, he lost the fight, and I was totally wrong. But that's part of the game. You start to examine things, you learn, you grow. By learning and studying things in a particular way, it'll lead you to ideas. Some will be correct, some will be incorrect. That this is life. This is what you want to do. Robin, if you could choose one permanent style of MMA, would it be grappling or boxing? I would not make that choice. I would not. The game has to change. One day there will be no grappling or boxing. It'll just be fighting. Really, those are doctrines. They're just belief systems. They're not real. There's really no such thing as karate or judo. It's just fucking fighting. When you decide to only do these things, this is correct, this is incorrect, always attack this way, punches must be done like this, all of that is nonsense. We learn it because that's part of the path to mastery, is learning the regimented systems that exist. But eventually you realize it's nonsense. There is no karate. There is no boxing. There is no Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's just combat. And when you have the realities of combat, pure combat, not mixed martial arts, because that's kind of pure, but pure combat. I'm also realizing I've got to be downstairs in 1 hour, so I got to get all suited up soon. But when we make rules and you only have one type of combat, you can't have that. But if you have pure combat, all must be possible. You must be free to do anything that you need to do in that moment. And you can't be free to do something if karate or boxing or jiu-jitsu or judo or any of these other beautiful paradigms that are part of learning to master martial arts, if any of them say, well, never do this, then you're not free, right? So all of these different structures are not real. They're not real. They're constructs. If Conor knocks Khabib out in devastating fashion, do you think he might go after any of Khabib's team or even Ali? No. I think he will try to be a professional on the night, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. He's a person. I don't know what's in his head. Personally, I'm excited for Lewis versus Volkov. I'm very excited for that. Just look at the bodies, the shapes of those gentlemen. Look at how big and strong and different they are and talented. You wanted to see Sugar. Yeah, Sugar O'Malley. Yep, I did too. I bet it was weed, which is really weird and really like it's legal. Might not. That's just, I don't know why I said that. Maybe it's his hair. I don't know. That's pure speculation. Something I don't really like to do. Plus, when I said pure, a little spit came out. Conor has only been tested twice, both by Diaz, and the other losses were flash. He has been tested. Mendez tested him. Other people have hit him hard. They've hit him hard. You go back and watch those fights. He didn't just blow guys out of the water. He's been tested. He didn't pass every one of them, but he's passed many, 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 many tests. How would Khabib versus GSP likely look? George would want it, if George had his way, he would want it to look a lot like George versus Koscheck looked. But it might not. Khabib might get to him. But that's a tough fight for Khabib. George is so complete and big. Khabib's record is overrated. He beat 26 men. The question is, who are those men? And that's a valid question, but he beat 26 men. You're good on volume. Turn your headphones up. Why? Is somebody said I'm not loud enough? Record padded. Okay, I'm gonna just zip through a few more of these. We've been an hour, and I've had hundreds of people here with me through most of that hour. I'm very thankful. I'm truly thankful for you guys spending your time with me. Robin, do you think Khabib is in kill mode and doesn't want to be bothered with all this? Yes. Or has the mental warfare affected him? Both can be true. Why would I be in kill mode and over this? Because you've fucking been bothering me, and the people have been bothering me, and Conor's been bothering me, and I'm over it. And that's okay. If he's responding that way, that's not an improper response. It's a very appropriate response. You know? I'm over this. Fuck it. I'm going to show up at 3. I'm going to do my press conference. I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to make weight. I'm going to show up. I'm going to weigh on the thing. I'm going to get out of there. And come fight night, we'll figure this thing out. That's an appropriate response. Doesn't mean he shook. In fact, it might mean the opposite. Why do people talk about Conor's power? It's not his power. It's his timing and accuracy. He catches guys in between his punches. So it feels like they got suckered. This is a long conversation, but all of those things are complex spider webs of things. We have a tendency, as we're trying to make sense of the world around us, to categorize things: power, speed, accuracy, timing, but they are not individual things. They're all connected. And that's a long conversation for another day. We'll do it and enjoy the hostilities. Okay. Khabib's pressure. I'm going to zip through a few more of these. Thank you guys for all your things. Canada is a place. Yes, it is. Love Canada. It's my home. What do you think of Dominic Cruz saying the UFC might be trying to get rid of the 125 division by making Cejudo versus TJ? He could be right. I don't know why they do the things they do. They're a large, complex business system, and complex businesses and systems are very hard to understand. They do things for many reasons, and it's not just like Dana might want this or not want this. There's many reasons, some that we don't understand. People, you think you have a good style, Robin. Thank you. I don't know if you're talking about my hair. Got a lot of compliments on my hair today. Normally it's been much more insults than compliments, but I do appreciate it. 1 minute breakdown on The Terrorist. That's a little harsh. Do you think Conor's cardio will be an issue? People like Diaz and Floyd fight as a reason for cardio. Now, Hey man, he did 10 rounds in his first boxing match ever. Nobody's ever. That's just not done. You know, he's in shape. Um, it's Habib in Connor's head. I mean, it's not a binary thing. It's not a yes or a no answer. It's not an on or a not off. It's not either 100% in or out. Of course, you gotta fight that guy. Of course, he should be in your head to some degree. Connor's power is overrated. Everyone talks about power. It's something more impressive. It's timing and then speed and power. We just discussed that. Those things are not separate things. They are for the purposes of conversation. They are for the purposes of making sense of something in a complex world. We make more sense by talking about that and trying to understand that. But in reality, it's, you know, the difference between power is created by speed. It is. It is created by speed. Even people who don't look fast but are powerful, they're still accelerating. It's still a neurology twitching muscle fibers creating force. But it's all connected. If Conor knocks Habib's nose into the nosebleed section, all they were able to sew it back to his face. I believe so. I mean, medicine seems to be at a pretty high level today. Just checking my phone. See what time it is. We've been on here for an hour. And we've had lots of people. It's been really cool. If Faber submits Sakuraba, he will face Barnett. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, that's fucking cool. I think this comes down to, can Khabib keep Conor on the ground? Yes, it does come down to that, and it comes down to, can he get him there? Can he keep him there? What can he do when he's there? Do you think Michael Johnson hurting Khabib was a product of bad weight cut or a glass chin? It's not only those things. It can be 1,000 variables. And we've had a lot of discussion on that here today. Some people don't think he was that hurt, and some shots that look like they hurt don't hurt that much, and some that look like they don't do. Who shot JR? Oh. Hello, Winnipeg. Habib forces you in the position you want, and most people just try to avoid those positions instead of attack from those positions. That's what. Yep, you were correct. I agree. Doesn't mean you can, but you should try to attack. If I get you to do something, you're not going to be able to punch me in the face as much if you're busy trying to stop me from doing something. So if I attack you, nobody's attacking Habib for any moment of any fight, and that's not Habib's fault. It might not even be their fault. They might just not have a choice. Habib's that good, maybe. But at least if you try to attack him, he may be busy dealing with that, whether that attack is a submission or an elbow or whatever, then he'll have less time and focus to smash your face in. Thank you. Kind of compliments. I appreciate it. Punch the other person in the face real hard. Yep, that's the plan. That's what it comes down to. What are your thoughts on Dana resisting implementing the 65 weight class? I mean, everybody. Actually, to be honest, I'll tell you my actual thought on that, and it doesn't have anything to do with the 165-pound weight class. It's a fascinating example of how much the world that you don't get to decide things anymore, even when you're the boss. Because Dana said like 5 times, it's like, no, this is not happening. It's not been discussed. And then literally the next person will say, and then, Connor, what do you think about a 165-pound weight class? And go, no, there isn't one. Connor's like, yeah, I think they'll have one. Like, everybody around, eventually they will have one, unless he's just being stubborn. Because when we're already on it, it's already happening. Connor talked about it. Nate said he's fighting for it. Everybody's doing it. So he can hold on to that and say, fuck you, I'm the boss. And some people act that way. Or you can go, wow, we're in a world where influence matters, people matter, audience matters, opinion matters. And it does. But, you know, he still is the boss, so it's up to him. But I found that fascinating, that no matter how many times he says no, people still keep the conversation going. That's a new thing. Michael Johnson, we've been over that one. From my memory, Michael Johnson smoked him a few times. Doesn't mean that's true. My memory could be tainted by it. I'll go back and watch it though. What do you think about Conor latching onto a standing guillotine? Yeah, I wouldn't. A couple other people have tried to latch onto a standing guillotine, went to the ground, Khabib passed them, got out of the guillotine, beat the crap out of them. You know, I don't know. Not super into that if I'm fighting him. The thing with Johnson fight is Khabib went into a compromise. Yeah. Hey, listen, if you love Khabib and you want to argue about whether or not Conor can punch him and do it through Michael Johnson or any of these, knock yourself out. But I feel like you get trapped in the weeds when we sit there. We believe Khabib's the greatest, and he is. He's the champion. He's unstoppable. Nobody's ever beaten him. But if we believe that, and then somebody creates something we disagree with, then we have to fight to defend this idea. It's okay to get rocked and still win. In fact, it's better. It's better. It says better things about you to get rocked and still come back and win. So if you're a Khabib fan, don't hold on to the, oh, no, he never got rocked. No, he was compromised. He had a bad. Don't hold on to any of that shit. He accept that he got rocked, if he did, and then go, wow, even though he got hit hard, maybe even stunned for a moment, he destroyed that guy. That's better. You're going to go live before the fight starts, like maybe a couple hours before, just for 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe. We'll do something tomorrow for sure. But from the venue, I can't. I'm not allowed to do it. I can only do what I'm credentialed to do there. I'm going to zip through a few more, and then we got to go. Sakurabas, Grappling Barnett. First match is, I haven't even been able to look at that. I'm so jazzed. You want to be a professional fighter without any previous martial arts training. How many hours a day should you allocate to training? Okay. You need 11 sessions a week, but if you have no training at first, you're only going to do 3 to 4 to let your body heal. And then you'll work your way up to 11, 90-minute sessions a week. And you're going to do a lot of reading, and you're going to do a lot of studying, and you're going to learn in as many other ways outside of physical as possible. How old am I? I'm 49 years old. I can't fucking believe it either. Yes, I dye my hair. Yes, I also dye my eyebrows. People ask that a lot. And I do. Why would you lie about such a thing? Connor has a better chance of winning early. Hey, Robin, your face looks swollen. Too much sodium. Does it? I haven't been able to work out. And I haven't been eating that well. And probably too much sodium. I've been sleeping well here, so that's been great. Hey, Robin, hope all is well. Looking forward to after the hostilities. Sunday morning, maybe Saturday night, but more likely we're going to go out and have fun. So probably Sunday morning we'll do after the hostilities before I go to the airport. Or maybe at the airport. Well, guys, I got to go. Also, I lost my earpiece. Just my little thing with the thing. So I got to get another one of those. But I got to go. But I thank you guys very much for hanging out with me. It's been really, really fun. Really fun. To be this immersed in fighting all day, every day for a week with one of the biggest fights ever has been a real pleasure. And I appreciate you guys immensely. Thank you guys very much. And enjoy the hostilities, my friends.